Okay, our first question here, we have to write down the modal skull length. And of course, the modal one is the most common one, which is the tallest one, and that's this guy here. And so we just got to work out what that is. If we count across the numbers, you see this is 30.5 and this is 31. So we can see that it is actually 30.5, 30.6, 30.7, 30.8. So 30.8. And we'll put some length in there, millimeters, just to be safe. Okay, so part B now. We've got to look at why 33.5 is not an outlier. So let's just remind ourselves about outliers. What you're doing is this distance here is the IQR, because that's Q3 and this is Q1, and we have to go take that distance of the IQR and go 1.5, and we've got to see if 1.5 times this distance is going to be more or less. It looks like it's going to be close, doesn't it? And this would be this distance here is 1.5 times the IQR, and we call this the upper fence. And the other one is actually to be going this way, 1.5 times the IQR. So because we're going on the negative side, we have to do a minus, and this is our lower fence. So in this instance, we are going to be doing, well, let's do the lower fence is Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. That's the lower fence. And Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR equals the upper fence. So first of all, we've got to work out what the IQR is. If we pull down that number there and this number here, we can see this is 31.6 for Q3 and Q1 is 30.3. So the difference between those two, so the IQR equals Q3 minus Q1 equals 31.6 minus 30.3, so that equals 1.3. Now, if you put that all into the formula, you're going to say the upper fence equals Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, so that equals 31.6 plus 1.5 times 1.3. That gives you 33.55. Very, very close. And we can see that from the diagram just by doing it with an eye judgment. But 33.55 is greater than 33.5. So you've got to state that. That's actually one of your statements. You've got to put that in there. And the other thing you're going to say, therefore 33.5 is not an outlier. And you can see it's actually worth 2 marks. And there's the 2 statements you have to have. You have to say this and this to get your 2 marks.